Hey, it's Sonia from Healthy and Healed. So today's video is going to explain the underlying mind-body connection cause of tonsillitis. Now, we learned about this on my course and I found this so fascinating, but I had learned this before in my matrix reimprinting training, but I wanted, it was affirmed to me in the official training what this is all about. And this is an interesting one because it's very common in children and you're about to find out why. So here's the thing. I just want to reiterate one thing too. I'm not a medical doctor, okay? I'm not here to offer cures. I'm just here to offer the perspective of options for healing the physical body through identifying the underlying cause from an emotional mind, perceptions, beliefs perspective. So please don't go off and suddenly say, well, Sonia said this, therefore da-da-da-da. It doesn't work like that. I'm all about integration. You need to go to your doctor. You need to have a diagnosis, very much about working holistically with the medical profession. So with any disease process or illness, you've got to remember that the intricacies of the brain and mind-brain organ connection are such that your brain does not know the difference between what is real and what's imagined. And that's why visualization is such a powerful tool to create what we want in life, because if we can perceive it, we can achieve it. And that's why sports people use it. So why I'm saying this is because what I'm about to explain to you about tonsillitis is because it's what we perceive as something. The perception of an event is enough to create the trigger for an illness or disease to start to be created. So what is a perception for you could be different from someone else, and it is such a subjective experience, but your brain does not know the difference. So we could have a literal event occur or a perceived or metaphorical event occur, and your brain will see it as being one and the same. And because your brain sees it as one and the same, your body responds accordingly. And so this is why we need to know this when I explain tonsillitis. So remembering this, and I've spoken about this before, illness and disease are a physical response to an emotional connection. And often the illness part, when we have physical symptoms, is actually not an illness. It's our body's going through what's called a regeneration or rejuvenation phase after a stress has occurred. So I'm going to show you this and explain tonsils this way. So the underlying cause of tonsillitis is either a literal or perceived situation where we think we have something, we feel like we've taken it in, or we're going to have it, it's ours already, but then it gets taken away from us. So for instance, a young child might think that tomorrow they're going to the circus with dad, but then unfortunately dad has to go back to work, and the child has already told itself and told its friends and in its mind, I'm going to the circus tomorrow, I'm going to the circus tomorrow, and it's there ready, and then it gets taken away. So it's like that we're about to ingest something and take it in, and we've had it, and then it gets taken away from us. So you think of all those times where children think that they're going to get to do something, or if they're a good child, they're going to get to go to the shops and get a piece of cake or a lolly or something, and they think, oh yes, this afternoon mum's taking us to the bakery and we're going to get a piece of cake. That belief is being formed, but then because they do something naughty, it gets taken away. So the stress phase is when the tonsils become enlarged. So let me explain it through this. So you have the trigger. Now the trigger is the upset moment, the Uden. And the Uden is a moment, if we see this here, the Uden is a moment that's unexpected. We didn't expect it. It's dramatic for us. Dramatic is perception. What's dramatic for you and dramatic for me is different. It's isolating. That means at the time you didn't have anyone to talk to about it. You felt like you were on your own and no one really understood what you're going through. And then the last part is that you had no known resources or strategies to handle or deal with the situation at the time. So here's your trigger here. Now you get triggered and your tonsils become enlarged. This is the stress phase of the illness. And then child realizes, well, it is what it is. I'm not going to get that piece of cake. I'm not going to get to go to the circus. And then the body goes into the relief moment. Oh, well, it is what it is. And then we have what's called the rejuvenation. Now you can see here how I've drawn a red dotted line. Now, let's say child has an event where they think they're going to have something, they've already got it, but then it never actually happens. And they go through the stress and they have the relief moment, and then the body, the tonsils, this is the disease part. This is when the tonsils become inflamed and infected and red. This part here. Now we want that healing process to get ourselves back up to the same point that it was before, the state of equilibrium. But what happens if that child has another moment where they are triggered, or they have another event where they think they're going to get something, and then they go into another stress phase and the tonsils become enlarged again, and then, you guessed it, another tonsillitis phase. And this is why it's so common in young children, because they're often perceiving events that are going to happen and things don't happen, or they have a punishment because they're naughty and they didn't do the right thing. I'm not saying tonsillitis is because they've been naughty, but the body, if it doesn't go to full rejuvenation, it will go into another cycle of illness and you'll get a recurring bout of tonsillitis. So look at your children, look at what's going on for them. Where are they thinking that they're going to receive something and they don't get it? And then they go into this healing crisis. This used to be called the healing crisis. It's actually now called the regeneration, according to Biocompass, rejuvenation or regeneration phase. It's when the body adapts, okay? And sometimes we just, the body gets so sick that we end up having to take the antibiotics. However, sometimes awareness as an adult of the reason for tonsillitis is enough to actually stop this stuff in its tracks. So I'm just going to explain this very quickly. From an adult perspective, my trainer had a daughter who kept getting recurring bouts of tonsillitis, and it was explained one day, this reason, that you think you've got something and then it gets taken away. Now my trainer Caroline Dawson, her daughter got a bout of tonsillitis, and when Caroline found out the underlying cause of this, she rang her daughter and said, have you had anything happen to you recently where you thought you were going to have something, it was yours already, but then it got taken away? And her daughter thought about that for a minute. She goes, oh yes. She said, my boyfriend and I had made plans to catch up and do something together, and then he cancelled on me to go surfing with his friends. And she said she was so angry at him. And then when she went, oh, what's the point? What's the point? Don't worry about it. That's when she went into her healing or regeneration phase, and that's when her tonsils got infected and cleared up. She didn't go to the doctor and take antibiotics or anything for it. Excuse me, itchy ear. She just went through a process of, clearing that, got over it, communicated with him her needs and desires moving forward. And tonsillitis doesn't really ever come back. And she's had a few other events around that, expecting to receive something, and then it never happening. And I was talking to my trainer literally 3 weeks ago at my Biocompass training, and Caroline was saying to me that her daughter doesn't actually get the tonsillitis anymore and hasn't had it for quite some time. And that's just having that awareness, because remember this, it is just your perception. That is how intricate the mind-body messaging is. That is how intricate it is. And if you want to know how intricate it is, watch my other video from today about the connection between the crew being the mind, the captain being the mind, and the body and the organs being the crew of a ship. And they are working together. But if they're not working together, that's why we get diseases. So hopefully that's provided some insight for you for tonsillitis. If you want to know more, feel free to contact me for free 20-minute consults, and I'd be happy to have a chat. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.